Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, Roth the Motor City Manmouth, and flapping his two fingers is Jacob Christopher because he's anxious to talk about pundits. But before we do that, let me bring out the crew. First and foremost, we go right to left, all the way down to the bottom. All right, Candy Ebling, welcome back, Candy.
Thanks, Scott. Good to be here.
All right, Mr. Opinion, you know the drill.
Yes, thank you for having me back.
My pleasure. And Jacob, Pundit Christner.
Hello, what's going on?
We had a live one we'll get to in a moment. And Smoking Jeremy B been working overtime this week. He practically owns his channel. I mean, we've been on now. Jeremy, can you count up to four? Fire up.
Four. I'm ready for another one. You got one tomorrow?
Not when you want it anyway.
He has to count to four. He does tires.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Jeremy's been pretty active this week. I'm proud of the guy. One of his best acts was what he did on Fire Up Wisconsin, where he's multitasking and think he knows something about Wisconsin sports. And you know what? He looked awfully good Monday night. Got to give Jeremy his props there for a dynamite performance. So with that said, okay, Jacob, what I want you to do is, as we lead off the show, is give everybody an overview of what we talked about on Pundit, please.
Well, one of the things we talked about was the controversy of Dale Brown Court over in Louisiana, and they want to bring the old women's coach Sue Gunter, want to bring her name onto the court because of politics. You basically the gender equity politics, and a lot of conversation there. We also talked about Kara Lawson having a problem because they lost the game the last week over the fact that they were playing with a man's ball for the first part of the half. So it's just conversations like that over and over. We just keep going. That's why Scott loves this show.
Yeah, like I've always said, my favorite one-liner when it comes to that show is my Diet Mountain Dew looks like water because that show gets my metabolism and my mouth working overtime. All right, well, with that said, okay, we have a busy agenda to get to, and we will start off during Super Bowl week. Probably a very easy question because we've got some heavy hitters, but I'll start everybody here off a little bit light. We'll lead off with you, Rick. How much TV are you watching during Super Bowl week preparation? You watching any of the hype?
No, I never really watched the hype. The Super Bowl's so hyped up. I get tired of people who don't even follow football, ask the most idiotic questions. I think like some of they send like some reporters out there. Like I think one of them asked the coach of the Eagles some silly question like, what player would you not want your daughter to date? And he looked at the report and said, my daughter's 5 years old. So, I mean, that's the kind of dumbness that happens. So it's hyped up. People just want to watch the stupid commercials that are annoying. So I'm kind of glad when it's over. And I really I'm not a fan of either the Chiefs or the Eagles. I think they're both great teams, but I have no dog in the fight. So probably not much.
Turn over to Jacob.
Rick, I just love how you I can imagine you getting married. I guess I'll marry you. Here you go.
Yeah, that's why I'm not married.
But no, I watch none of that hype because the only hype that I watch is sideline sports. We're in the like 12 of us are inside. I'm not one of them. I want to be there in Las Vegas next year, but 12 of us are there. So I'm watching theirs. I'm also copying theirs. Yeah. I'm copying and bringing it on to that. And since they did this, I am now doing something I never thought I would do. I am now have a TikTok thing. So I am promoting myself. So I'm over promoting myself even more because they're getting to do that now.
Jeremy?
I don't know if I got time to watch TV. I've been on South Florida Tribune so much, I think I am on TV.
Oh, that was good.
There you go.
Hey, no, it's Stephen A.B.
That is good. Jeremy, I'll tell you, for all you folks that are looking for Jeremyisms, all you need to do is watch us on this channel. It'll be good. All right, Candy, what about you?
No, I'm not watching any of the hype. I'm too busy with, producing things for South Florida Tribune and listening to other people. I can't believe I was hearing that the Super Bowl, the commercials, $7 million for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And most of them, they don't have money then to produce a good commercial. So they're putting on the old commercials that they already put up.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be 10 million. It'll be 10 million in the next couple of years.
And I could care less about the halftime. I mean, Rihanna and all this. I mean, who cares? I call it the overrated bowl because that's what it is. The overrated bowl. But it'll make whole bunch of money, and that's all they care about. And it's just I'm not a fan of the Super Bowl. It's so overhyped and overrated.
I'll just say this much. I made a promise to myself all week I wouldn't watch any of it. So I watched 0% of all the hype. Don't plan on doing it. All I've been focusing on this week is trying to get up to date with my social media. And I also want to let everybody know that I am dedicating this tonight's sports exchange to my father-in-law, Fred Ebling. He passed away at the age of 80 on Sunday. Rest in peace, Dad. We're leaving on Friday, and we'll be spending 4 or 5 days up with the family. Love you very much, Pops. And I tell you, I'm so thankful for the way you've loosened me, of all people, up, okay, about learning the words laughter. And one other positive note, I should say, Candy Ebling and I, after we get back from Wisconsin, we're covering the Daytona 500. So looking forward to being up there. So I guess we've only had 1 week in our bed, and then we get to go to Wisconsin, and then we get to go to Daytona. Hey, I don't know where home is on the weekends, but I'll tell you what, I know where the week stuff is. So rest in peace, Dad. See everybody shortly. And social media and Daytona 500. Well, it is what it is, and that's how I'm keeping my eyes off the television set. With that said, I guess we have no choice but to talk about it, even though I don't like it anyways. LeBron James passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, playing in 150 fewer games. James went 1,410, Jabbar 1,560. And James entered the league out of high school at 18 years of age, where Jabbar played 4 years at UCLA at the age of 22. So I guess the only thing I'm going to say, without over talking about this thing, accomplishment, if you want to call it that, is I'm going to go ahead and lead off with you, Rick. Is this an unbreakable record?
I think so. With the state of the NBA and them taking their mental breaks, nobody wants to play back-to-back games no more. I think it's going to be around for a long, long time. I probably will be dead when someone breaks it. It'll have to be some phenom like a LeBron or a Michael Jordan, some scoring. I mean, just somebody just scoring ridiculous. Playing a long time has a lot to do with it, the longevity. And that's one thing about LeBron that I admire. There's not much for me to admire about him, but that's one thing I admire about him, is that he always stays healthy. He plays for a long period of time. And so, do I think it's an unbreakable record? Yes, I do.
Yeah, from what I hear, he spends about $1 million on programs with his body and will. Now, unfortunately, I won't see in Florida, because obviously this weekend we're gone, and next weekend the Daytona 500 is a large part of our coverage. So hopefully we'll catch up in Charlotte. So we appreciate you being a loyal watcher. We'll very much appreciate it. So, Jacob, is this an unbreakable record?
Yeah, it is. Thing about it is, one thing I also say is he's like number 4 all time in assists too. So I think, to me, he is an all-time great, not the all-time great.
Right.
And it's like the reason I absolutely say it, and I think Rick can agree with me on this, but it's like the main thing about it is I just don't think he has the dog in him to be the GOAT. It's like, because there's been like 2016 when he won it all. Last 3 games, down 3-1, 41 points, 11-8 in your last 3 games. That's when you have the dog in you to get it. He won it for Cleveland. He doesn't keep that dog all the time. Like the Michael Jordan keeps that dog in the preseason. It's like, to me, the all-time great is going to be the one that has a dog in him when he's in the office for Jordans, and for the Jordan brand. That's when you have the dog in you, is when you have it in the office, when you're playing to pick up basketball. You want to win. You want to win in pool. That's the whole thing. It's just being the all-time great is a personality. Which, right. See, the thing is, LeBron's going to be a great businessman. He is a great businessman. He's going to get all that stuff. But he's not going to have the dog in him to be mean, evil, do all that kind of stuff like that. Which sometimes it's what it takes to be the greats and a complete all-time great.
Well, go ahead, Jeremy. I'll have the last word on this one.
Greatest individual achievement all time. No, it probably won't be broken, but you know what he will have by the end of his career? He will be the only player in this group. 40,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists.
Yeah.
I'm not debating that at all. What about you, Candy?
For the longest time, I thought, yes, he was going to be it, that it won't be broken. But as much as this has become such a shooting league, and a 3-point shooting league. I don't know. There's a chance. There's a chance now because they're shooting so many threes. And if they ever would go to a 4, and I know that's a joke, but if they ever go to a 4-point or a 5-point basket, you definitely could see somebody break it at some point. Now they have to have longevity. They got to want to play for a while, but
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Greg, hold on. Candy's drinking the Greg Popovich Kool-Aid that we had before when I brought her up in the first place. But I'll tell you, nobody's going to stop her from a retention level, which is nothing short of outstanding. Let me just put a bow on this. If anybody wants to add to it, go ahead. Number one, I will never in my lifetime ever consider LeBron James the greatest of all time. No way. I can think of a lot of people that I might put Michael Jordan in the discussion and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had that sky hook that nobody could defend against. And Michael Jordan, to me, was 6-0 in the finals. And I'll tell you what, he turned the game around. But sorry, LeBron, I know we're both Capricorns. I think he's born on the 30th or the 31st. So the only thing I have in common with LeBron James is we're Capricorns, and that's about it. Katie, why don't you go ahead and Google when LeBron James' birthday so we can get it right. But no, I would go ahead, Michael Jordan or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the greatest of all time. Do I think his record will be broken? No, I think LeBron, you can keep that for a while. And Candy will make a valid point, okay, that the way everybody talks about the way the game is played leads me to my next subject. Go ahead, Candy.
December 30th, 1984.
So there you go. December 30th, 1984, you said?
Yes.
All right, well, there you go. I'm December 29th, folks. That's as far as we go, LeBron. All right, well, you know what? We're going to segue to something. Did any of you guys have something to add to this before I go on?
Yeah, I do real quickly. It's like, to me, he's not even – I'm just going to say this. He's not even the greatest small forward of all time because he did not invent any of the stuff that we see right now of the small forward. That's Bird. I'm just saying from that. Bird invented everything you see on Bird from the stretch 4 to everything like that is Larry. That's not LeBron. LeBron took that game into another level. And then Michael Jordan took a lot of Larry's game. But that's what I'm saying. It's not the stats. It's not the numbers. Bird didn't play anywhere near long enough to get the all-time great. But one thing to realize, LeBron, the reason I won't put LeBron in an all-time great thing is because he created his own teams and then he's lost a bunch lately. And he's lost a bunch of games lately. And the thing was, Bird's last 3 years with some pretty, like Joe Klein and Ed Pinckney and just like, teams still won 51 to 55 games every year. Even with broken down big three, even with everything like that, still 51 to 55. LeBron James with teams he completely built losing seasons. So the thing is, it's an individual thing. But to me, that tells me the difference of having the dog and just kind of letting it be.
Well, I'll give a Basket Bros analogy, if I may. And I've always believed in this, and I'll never stop believing in it. Had LeBron James played back in the glory days of the Pistons and all those physical teams, I'm not saying he'd have 40,000 points, but I'd like to see the pounding that this guy would have taken, knowing that every time you went in the paint, you're going to end up looking at the paint firsthand with your eyes down facing it. So that's what I've always said. So, to me, LeBron James is an outstanding player. He certainly belongs in the discussion of being maybe undoubtedly the 5 greatest of all time. But if you think I'm going ahead and giving him the greatest, no way. So that's
real quickly. Like I said, though, the one thing about it is you'd have to be used to it. If you brought LeBron James in a time machine to go play right now, he'd be out of the league in like 5 seconds the minute. That especially he got his head slammed off the court.
He's a baby.
Rick Mahorn. But if you start him in the beginning with it, knowing he's going to be 40 pounds lighter in his life because there's no training,
right?
And then knowing that you don't have the same diets, and you're probably going to get fatter because he's, as you said, spends $1 million a year on his body. You don't have those same things back in that time. He might be used to that pounding. It might be a different type. But now, right now, if you brought him to the time machine, he'd be dead in a minute. Because he just scrambles around like an idiot. Go ahead.
He's played, 20 seasons, just like Kareem did back in the day, correct?
Yeah.
Because Kareem played his first 6 years with Minnesota and then was traded to the Lakers, correct?
Milwaukee.
Or Milwaukee, and then traded to the Lakers. And he was Lou Alcindor when he came into the league, if I remember right, and changed his name.
Yep.
So you think about that, 20 years and 150 less games.
Yeah.
Well, all right, but
Same length of the career. So that's what I'm getting at.
I'm with you all the way, my friend, but let me give you some information, pal. Okay, the guy comes out of high school, gets those 4 years in the pros, right? And of course, the other one plays for UCLA. Ever heard of John Wooden? I'd say he was pretty good.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I know. No, Jeremy, let me finish, okay? I'm with you all the way. Everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to add a couple of facts to the whole equation about the difference in the games and all. That's all I'm saying, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know there's a difference in the game. Nobody plays defense like they did back during the Bad Boys era and stuff like that because they don't allow it. They don't allow you to put your hand on somebody's back when they're coming into you to stop you from being able to pivot around them, because that used to be how we were taught to play defense in basketball, even in school.
Well, it's funny how you say that, Jeremy, because when I was out there back in Detroit in my front yard, and I used to start throwing elbows around, and the guys I was playing against didn't like it. I said, well, I cover the bad boys. You guys got to get clocked if you get near me. So in Detroit, Jeremy, of all people, it's a way of life, my friend. It really is for us. So we're used to that whole heavy-duty pounding. And I'm not saying that LeBron James isn't a good player at all. I'm just not going to do that.
But had he been raised in that era and played in that era, it would have been two different things. That's all I got to say.
No. And Jeremy, I'm saying your points are really well documented. But when I'm talking about when you're playing, you come 4 years directly out of high school where your physical ability, nowadays high school players don't, unless you're a real superstar, they're not going to make it in the NBA right away. LeBron James is a freak of a talent is really what he was. And that's the whole thing. But am I going to say, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like a lot of college football players, you know what? To me, many of them come out earlier when they're not ready to come out. It was just LeBron James came at a time where, let's face it, he was ready and he was an extraordinary talent. We're just talking about the differences in the eras. That's all we're talking.
Yeah.
I
get it.
Which is what makes Basket Bros a fun show for me to go on. And Jacob, obviously, it's an awesome show to go on. And I'm just thankful to be a part of it. But, when we're talking about eras, it's all we're really talking about, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But the reality is no. I'm still not going to give him the greatest of all time, even if I wanted to.
No, and I nowhere did I say that.
He's like top 10.
No, well, that's it, Rick. I can think of 4 or 5 guys far better than James.
Magic, Wilt, Bill Russell, Kareem,
Kobe.
I got 4 right now.
Yeah, well,
Michael
that's
Jordan.
Saying. It's a great debate, though, because I guess what I'm going to say is, as far as the topic is concerned, it is going to be an unbreakable record. Even if you have 4 to 5 point shots, which who knows the way this league is going, they're bound to do it anyways. You have a play-in tournament. They're talking about an in-season conference. Just make sure the play of basketball and the drama goes away, and you might get half your stinking audience back instead of all the baloney that we have to deal with off the court, building teams and all that. That's all I'm saying. So now that leads me to a great segue that I know I'm priming you guys up to really eat it alive anyways. And it comes from our old buddy, Sir Charles Barkley, who says players go to the gym and jack up threes all night. That's why the product is awful. You know what, Jeremy? You're going to get this one first.
I agree with him. This 3-point shot flopping and everything else that's done in the NBA and crying and whining when somebody stubs their toe, it's ridiculous. We had guys that were playing with, who was it that had he bit a hole in his lip and finished the game? That was a Piston at the time.
It could be anybody in that league.
Right. I'm just saying back then that was normal. Dislocate a finger, go to the sideline. Hey, coach told this. Yank, pull it back in and go back on the court.
Yeah.
All it took was a timeout. They don't have that type of integrity, that intestinal fortitude, the drive to stay on a court. Somebody gets a hangnail and they miss 2 weeks anymore. Load management stinks.
I know. Yeah, you weren't on that show. We talked about load management. So you know what, Jeremy? I'll let you continue your thought since Jacob and I and Rick, were you on last week? Yeah, we all talked about it. So you know what, Jeremy? Keep going on the load management part. Okay.
I mean, that's why he has 150 games less in the same length of time that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played. Think about it. He's also had way more points on the road than he has at home because he's missed more home games than road games.
Right.
I mean, that only makes sense if you look at the split. He misses 3 home games to every one, or 3 home. Yeah, he misses 3 home games to every one road game.
Okay. Well, the reality
And
is
that's a sad, sad thing for season ticket holders if you think about it. That means you have a 2/3 better chance of missing your star player, the guy you paid to go see, than seeing all the bums that are on the team.
Well, let me tell you this. When I was at National Sports Media Association convention last year, I had a chance to meet Charles Barkley, got a couple nice photos with Chuck, and I'm going to, you know what I told Barkley right to his face? Well, not really to his face, because the problem is he's much taller than I am, as close as I can without a step stool, okay? Charles, thank you for doing what everybody else on the planet went on to do, and stick it to this NBA, because it is awful, and thanks for being our voice, the people's voice. And no problem. With a big smile.
Yeah.
Great picture taker, by the way. This guy was unbelievable. So, yeah, the bottom line is Charles Barkley's right. Why do you think he's a great TNT analyst in the first place? You know what I mean? This guy played the game with passion. The only thing he didn't do was win an NBA championship, but he did everything else. And he played during a tough time when Jordan was in his prime. So Charles Barkley, to me, will always be a winner. And he's right. All these players do is go to the gym, jack up threes, and that's all there. It's a jump shooting league. If I wanted to do that, I could go to the streets or wherever you want to call it and play pickup basketball, because that's about all they're doing anyways. All right, Jacob.
Well, the difference is you also elbow them.
Yeah, right. Right, I'm sure. Yeah, I can imagine where a lot of these patty cake baker men would handle with an Rick Mahorn elbow and Bill Lambier throwing them around, and Karl Malone. Oh my goodness, Will Vogel. Basket Bros is carrying on a new legend tonight, especially knowing I'm rambling about this and Charles Barkley. All right, Jacob, continue. I know I have enough voice for another.
No, you're good. You're good. No, the biggest thing about it, what we need to see is the fact that, remember, you guys have heard me say this before. This is an agents and a lawyers league. But there's one. I'm not going to say it's good for load management, because I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible for the season ticket holders. I think it's horrible. It's like we've heard. I brought this up last week. Kobe said, "What if there's one person that gets a chance to see me once? I want him to see me," and he was in complete pain. Larry Bird said, "I played for the people in the Boston Garden that worked all those hours, keeping this place around." We don't get that part anymore. But at the same time, there's one thing that comes from this. See, you couldn't get this because the Stars played every night, so you couldn't get a chance to really get this. But a Cam Thomas on the Nets, he's got 3 straight 40-point games. He's getting a start of his career. He's getting a start because there's no more Kyrie. I mean, where are we going to see? And when's the next time we see KD? There's not a Harden anymore. Ben Simmons is pretty much Ben Simmons. but it's like, so basically this is given the option of Cam Thomas. And this is the thing. How many more are we going to see on different teams that get their opportunity and get it? Because that is the one thing we did not get from the 80s and the 90s. You did not get much of a chance to take Michael Jordan's crown, because he played 37, 38 minutes. You get all that stuff. He didn't take nights off. Those guys didn't take nights off. These guys that take nights off, or they're leaving, or doing a business decision, if you will, give a chance, like a guy like Cam Thomas, a chance.
I agree.
And he's got 3 straight 40-point games, and now he's going to be a star in the league. So you got to give it that.
I agree. All right, Rick. I know we've given you a loaded deck here, so go ahead, roll with it. We're passing with the baton you about Charles Barkley.
Well, I couldn't stand Charles Barkley when he played. I just could not stand him, and now I love him because he has no filter. Because I'm the same way. We have no filters because we're sick and tired of the garbage. I haven't seen an NBA game like in 20 years. These guys today, the Kyries, the LeBron, are cancer to the NBA. The whine and complain. It's soft. Our society is so soft. Everybody's offended. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody's got these alphabet diagnoses and all this stuff. You know, I saw guys get separated shoulders, pop it back in. Isaiah Thomas got blood splurting everywhere. That's okay. Stitch him up. He went to go play. They were so tough back then. And now today, they are divas. They go too much on the social media. Those social media has ruined everything. They go on there and just blast everybody. And, LeBron was whining and complaining. Maybe it's me that's the problem. Yeah, of course it's you because you're cancer. So, I mean, it's a bunch of garbage. I don't watch the I've been in Charlotte for 18 years, never seen a Hornet game, and don't plan to because I hate the NBA. It is awful, and Adam Silver sucks.
Good enough. Candy?
We have become a society that doesn't respect each other. And I think this me society, we no longer have, if we're going to battle, people bring out guns. That's not the answer. And I know this is going a little off topic, but the old-fashioned bad boys where you would battle together and you'd be against each other, but then off the court you'd be okay. Like, we take things to a different level and we've become a me society. And I think that's the problem. And especially in a team sport. Me, my accomplishment, my accomplishment, my accomplishment. That's part of the problem.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the final word on this one. Number one, Charles Barkley is 1,000% right that the product is awful and everybody's shooting 3 points. But let's have a little bit of history here on the Sports Exchange, shall we? And before I go ahead and do that, I do want to thank everybody that's participating in the chat room. Without that, we would certainly not have ideas to draw from. But I do want to point out that the Sports Exchange can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcast. So go out there wherever you're at. Okay. With that said, okay, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. We'd certainly like more. Let's get that first 1,000. Then we can graduate to even more than that. So there you go. There, we'll have it out. Candy will bring it up a little bit later. Yes, Will, the one thing I miss is in the NBA is loyalty, without a doubt. All right. Well, you know what? Let's turn back time a little bit. Once upon a time, the NBA was on tape delay. Remember that? A long time ago? I liked it because I was working at the Highland House making salads back then when I was a real skinny guy. Okay, but I ended
You were
up
skinny?
Yeah, there was a time when it
Stop.
real skinny.
We all were once.
Sure. Don't mess up my story, Jeremy. Okay. Because if you mess this one up, then you got a problem with me. But you got to let me finish this one. As Paul Harvey would say, that was before you were born. Let me tell you the rest of the story. Okay.
I know Paul Harvey.
Yeah, I remember that. So, do you remember him, Jeremy?
Of course.
Okay, that a boy. That's what now you're back on track. But once upon a time, the league was on tape delay. Bird and Magic saved it. Oh my goodness. All these guys out there should be thankful for their last dime that they have a good, worthwhile living to make. So in my opinion, to me, I'm with Rick. I wish David Stern was commissioner. Adam Silver is not qualified to do
Kyrie
anything.
would be gone. He would be like playing in Russia or Bangladesh somewhere. And LeBron, he would tell LeBron, stop being such a what, and just play the game, because that's what LeBron is. He doesn't have that killer instinct. That's why he's not a GOAT, because Gretzky, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, all
Alex
had that
Ovechkin.
killer instinct. They all wanted the ball at the end. LeBron doesn't. He's so afraid to shoot it and miss it, and then they call you choke. He's terrified of that. That's not a GOAT. So that's why he's not a GOAT.
Okay, but let me tell you the rest of the skinny story, okay? Because a lot of people will probably be laughing their rear ends off like my father-in-law, Fred Edling, taught me to be looser. There was a time when I weighed 103, 105 pounds. Okay, I'm telling you, this is when I was 18 years old. Now you guys are really good. There was a time when I actually went over to Lakeland Joker Marchant Stadium and there was nobody there. I squeezed through the fence to take some pictures, and when nobody was there, I actually did this one time. But here's the real thing about the whole thing. My late Uncle Fred, I was doing some roofing back there, had to lay me off and fatten me up because I was getting blown away helping him fix roofs, and I was laid off for being too skinny. Nowadays, I don't think I would have that problem. But at any rate, those are the, as they would say on the bunkers, those were the days. And no, I'm not signing up for.
Hey, Candy, let him go through the fence now, then push him through.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I had a hard time getting into a NASCAR a few months ago. But I'll tell you, back then when I was weighing 105 pounds at one point or another,
You might have shot through the other side.
A lot of tight spots.
But
Yeah.
But I want to bring this up real quick. Adam
Sure.
Silver worked around, was basically his lawyer, David Stern's lawyer, for all those
Okay.
years. He learned a lot. This is the question I have if David Stern was still around. Would he still be, would it be the same? Because David Stern would be older. What would happen? What would David Stern do in the middle of what happened with the George Floyd situation? What would happen? All that stuff. A lot of this stuff has happened with Adam Silver.
Adam Silver's.
Yeah.
And am I fond of Adam Silver? No, I am not. He's too weak in my opinion. But I don't know what's going to happen. He was around David Stern for all those years. What would happen to David Stern in this changed world?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me answer that question, Jacob. That's a very, very fair question. Okay, and I'll tell you this. Okay, like Will Vogel said, Candy, put it up on the screen, please. That Stern wouldn't stand for this BS. Well,
Yeah.
that's a bullseye right there. Okay?
Exactly.
Thanks, Will. That was a really good point. You took the words out of my mouth, so I will say it. Stern wouldn't stand for BS. No nonsense, old school guy. And this low management, he'd be like a volcano waiting to erupt with that one.
That part's true. But I'm just talking about all the other stuff going
Well,
on.
I still think, well, you know what? Let's use the analogy. I think he'd be very stern with every particular situation that would occur. He was a no-nonsense kind of guy, no matter what you throw at him. I think, number one, Donald Sterling would have been booted out of there in 24 hours instead of how long it took for him to get rid of the team. And, I love David Stern. He was everything good about the NBA. He's the guy that took a league that was bankrupt and turned it into a profit-making thing. And obviously the TV contracts that soon. So, yeah, Jacob, that's an excellent question.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you right now, David Stern would not, under no uncertain terms, have tolerated anything about this NBA. He wouldn't even have a playing tournament 7-11 because you don't need gimmicks to get into playoffs. If you're not good enough after 82 games, stay the heck out of there, as far as I'm concerned. And now I don't know whether Seattle would be back to having a team quite yet, Will, but I think that's inevitable. But, we'll have to find out how it all plays out. But no, all I'm going back to this era, and I want to make sure that we relate the topic back to Charles Barkley, okay? He's the one guy that is the people's voice, okay?
Yeah.
He's telling you everything that's wrong, that the product is awful. And we're going back to shooting 3, 4, 5 pointers, okay? I don't know about you guys, but the average 3-point play to me was a layup and get fouled at the hole. There's your 3-pointer, okay? Not all this business here. Or if you did have a 3-point shot, you take at least a small 2-point shot and get fouled, then you have a 3-pointer. Not all this baloney you have now. Sorry, I'm not buying it. And if I'm ranting now, I have every reason to. Because this league here, I covered it during the Bad Boys era. I saw good physical defensive basketball with Chuck Daly. I lived in that Pistons locker room and talked to a lot of the people that were causing havoc for other teams. Did you guys even realize that the Oakland Raiders sent the Pistons shirt about the Bad Boys? And that was the gift, and they fed off of that. The black and white Bad Boys with the skull and all that. Did you know that?
Especially all those times when Oakland stopped being good.
Well, it's okay. Pistons haven't stopped being good recently.
No, the Pistons didn't. No, yeah.
No, but there was a time when the Oakland Raiders say, "Hey, we like your hard-nosed play image is what you've done." Okay, and as a result, okay, they send them those things, and then of course Detroit sources some. I even have a couple somewhere around here that I just leave over in my office here at home. So, but no, I think it's a great topic here, and I'm glad that Charles Barkley. Anybody have any closing thoughts on the topic before I have a Jacob only topic?
If David Stern was still around, Ben Simmons, Kyrie would be out of the league. They would be known as these dream teams, and LeBron would stop being such a whiny you-know-what. And this load management would be garbage. There would be no load management, and you would actually see people play. It's
Anybody
weak
else?
now. Adam Silver is a doormat. He sucks. He's weak.
Anybody else? Floor is open before I go to.
The thing is, as far as Ben Simmons, I think Ben Simmons would be more on the bench. But at the same time, I also brought my first TikTok I just did. Brought up with Ben Simmons is the fact that they were stupid to do the trade in the first place, and he has no trade value now. But guess what? Who cares? It's like use him as a role player because he can still distribute the ball and make rebounds. So it's either way. But as far as what David Stern would be doing, it just really depends because every bit of, and I'm not an Adam Silver fan, but every bit of this went on his. And it's like, and he is weaker than Stern, but we don't know what Stern would have done.
Jeremy, you have a comment about everything. Give me one here.
I don't have one.
Oh, my God. Is everybody documenting this? If this guy doesn't have a comment?
He's got to follow me. It's hard.
All right, Jeremy. Oh, you're letting me down. I was waiting for you to give me something juicy, Jeremy. All right. Call him Juicy Jeremy. All right, that's okay.
That sounds like a porn name.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
there you go. Juicy Jeremy with no comment. All right. Document that, Candy, on the books here, that this is occurring on, let's see.
I'm not juicy.
9:50.
Yes, you are.
No,
You're
I'm
too
not.
juicy. That's why you got to lose some weight.
Yeah, no comment.
Actually, I've lost a lot of weight. You guys didn't meet me back when I weighed 310.
No, probably
were
not.
You
Okay, I'll
were you
give him that.
WWE?
All right. Well, we'll document it. All right. Send me that.
Had a heart attack. Had to straighten up.
All right. Now on to the Jacob Christner topic only. Okay.
Oh,
So
sweet.
the rest of this panel dealt with it last night. Jacob only. Iowa will be playing Northwestern a home game with the Wildcats on November 4th at Wrigley Field. The Bears played there from 1921 to 1970. The Chicago Cardinals were there, and the DePaul Blue Demons were there in 1939 before they folded. Okay, what are your thoughts about this, Jacob?
I hate when they have football in Wrigley Field because
Yeah.
I hated it when I'm looking at the old field from the day you had dealt with that wall. That hasn't changed. You're still dealing with that wall. There's still a lack of room to be able to throw it, be able to throw a fade for a touchdown or anything like that because you can't run through that. It's still that amount of space. So I hate when it's in Wrigley because there's not enough room.
Fair enough. Okay, now you get a Super Bowl prediction because we all did last night. Give me your Super Bowl prediction before I get everybody
Oh
else.
God.
I know this is painful on this sport.
No, these are painful for me because I'm the news magazine guy. I'm not fond of these types, but
Yeah, everybody, before he does that, okay, everybody say "aw."
Oh,
Yeah.
Let me play my violin for you.
give me
Jacob.
make it. I'll say KC like 40-30 in a good game.
Fair enough. So everybody say "aw" again.
Oh,
Okay, but if he's right, and two
poor
weeks
baby.
this thing, he gets the last laugh, and then we all look stupid. Especially since I'm documenting the 40-30 and the over/under and all this betting business. All right, whatever. Good stuff, Jacob. All right, now since Jeremy wanted to talk about the Aaron Rodgers thing by popular demand, he's going to get to lead off with this bad boy. Ready, Jeremy? Okay.
Go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers going into a darkness retreat before making a final decision on the future. Is this an LOL moment?
All I got to say is, hello, darkness, my old friend. I come to speak with you again. That's it.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. It wasn't. You know what? This isn't quantity. This is quality, Jeremy. Good stuff, my friend. But Aaron, why don't you go ahead and sing that again?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I come to speak with you again.
This Simon and Garfunkel?
Yes, it is.
Yay.
The original.
That's a good rendition of it, Jeremy. All right, Jacob, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, when I heard of 4 days of nothing but darkness, I was thinking he was going to Houston. So it's like,
I'm just wondering why the
Love
stock in Jergens and Kleenex went up.
yeah, right.
It hasn't done that since Hugh Hefner died.
Yeah. Truthfully, I wish he was. As much as anything, as much as I wanted to retire or anything, I wish he was getting traded for Justin Fields. Personally, to me, I'm sick of the fans.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the fans. And
Oh
for
man,
Fields.
how much would the fans cry about that? Because
I want them to.
Because
I want
the
them to.
Packers the Bears daddy goes from the Packers to the Bears.
You have no idea how much I want the Bears fans to cry over losing Fields. You have no idea. I talked about it on my thing today. I want them to. I'm tired of them. I am tired of the Fields worshipers. I am tired of losing. I want him. I love the kid.
I love the kid too. And if they give him a good O-line, that $120 million they got in cap space this year, they should invest $80 million in now to 93.
You need a better head coach.
So Jacob,
they need to invest $80 million in that O-line.
I understood, but my thing about it is, when the last guy had 30 wins, even if he wasn't as good, they booed and said they wanted him out and they wanted everything. That means they didn't want winning. They wanted a rock star. And they wanted to be like they were in high school, getting noticed by the cool kid. I can't stand the fans. I think I want these fans to suffer. So yeah, Get somebody else from go get Spencer Petras from Iowa. I don't even care at this point.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Rodgers keeps saying that he owns the Bears every time he beats them. If he gets traded for Justin Fields, do you think he's really going to own the Bears?
Oh, he really will own the Bears. In fact,
He'll own the Bears.
He'll take something from the McCaskets.
I can imagine.
He'll take it from the McCaskets. I call them the McCaskets. So it's like,
Oh,
but it's like no.
Oh, that's good.
But no, I would, as I said, it's not going to happen. But I am so you're seeing somebody that is so agitated with losing as much as they have, and your first round or 10th pick has 5 wins because they didn't work with him. They gave him the Nagy when he didn't need to be doing that, and the fans went for it, and the fans cried for it and wanted it, and now the thing is, now he's in his 3rd season at 5 wins and 20 losses. I'm tired of them. I want the kid to get a fresh start.
Yeah, well, you know what, Jacob, just like you have ways on Pundits Funded to get my adrenaline rolling, I like getting your goat going too, my friend.
Well, the thing about it is, I love the kid's gumption. I love his desire. He looks like Rocky in a 15-round fight when he's getting off that field and they're going to lose. He fights his tail off, but he can't pass well. He's under 60%. He doesn't have a team around him. He's running away from a horrible offensive line. And then the fans, all they care about is his the fantasy stats and his highlights. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
And they're going to ruin this kid. So I want him to get a fresh start.
I agree with you. I think you're right. They're definitely going to ruin the kid. But you know what, Jacob? Every time I feel like, see, here's the thing. When you and me work together a total of 3 times a week, whether it's basketball, whether it's fun and fun now, I kind of get a feel for my brother from another mother. Then again, everybody's a brother from another mother. Except Andy, she's, my soulmate.
We have the same gray hair.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody complained about Russell Wilson this year, but you know what him and Justin Fields had in common? They both were the most sacked quarterbacks in the league at 55.
And I'm going to say this about Russell Wilson: his last two games with Rose. What was his name? Rosberg.
Without Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah. With Jerry Rosberg, he averaged 250 yards and he had like 1 interception.
Yeah,
and
he was
right.
better.
And he played way better. And it's like you give him a real coach with real everything. He's not going to be the same as he was in Seattle, but he'll be effective.
Yes.
It's the same thing I said. If you look at when the coaching change happened last year with the Lions between Jared Goff, the first 10 weeks and the last 8 or 7.
Yeah.
You look at that, it looked like night and day difference. You know why? Because he had a coach that was calling plays for him instead of the quarterback they wanted. Nathaniel Hackett called plays for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, you think about this also, Pittsburgh. There was people that asked for Kenny Pickett. They didn't want Mitch anymore. Here's the thing. Here's the deal about it. We were saying, me and this one guy that loves Pittsburgh, we were saying, there's a problem with Matt Canada. There's a problem with him. And then guess what Pat Fryermuth said? They had no hot reads this year. None. 0. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you have Aaron Rodgers if you don't have that. It's like, it doesn't matter if you have Trubisky or Mason Rudolph, excuse me. Or you don't have Kenny Pickett. No one's going to succeed like that. He's literally a 1991 offensive coach.
Okay.
And the only reason they win is because of Mike Tomlin.
All right. Well, the bottom line is getting back to the original question. Okay. We ought to call you Aaron Rodgers, Jacob Christopher for the night, because I know you're so complimentary. Is this an LOL moment for Aaron Rodgers, Jacob?
Yeah. Yeah, he's an LOL lately anyway, but it's like biggest thing about it is just the fact that, to me, this is his last year no matter what. He looks like he's dating the Milwaukee Bucks owner's daughter.
Right.
And I get the feeling he's going to be Triple H-ing his way into that thing and getting his own ownership into the NBA. So he's going to be doing something in the second half of his life.
Okay, that's fair. All right, Rick, I know you patiently waited this time, but I had to let these two go first. And especially I knew that this was going to get Jacob good because he's a Bears guy anyways.
Right.
Or Chicago guys. I'm being sarcastic, Jacob. You know when I want to be sarcastic. All right, Rick, I'll go back to the original point that I made here, okay? Is Aaron Rodgers, okay, going on that darkness retreat, making a final decision on the future? Is this an LOL moment?
Everybody, RELAX. He's an idiot. I guess he's going to go back to taking his COVID kombucha medicine that cured him or whatever. I don't know what he's doing. He's an idiot. He really is. I don't know. I've lost so much respect for him and Tom Brady the last 3 years. You know, they're a joke. He's another Brett Favre, okay? And I know you like Brett Favre, Scott. He's another diva. It's all about me, blah, blah, blah. He's an idiot. He loves attention. And I hope he just goes away. He's not. I think he's going to go to the Raiders. He'll be with Devontae Adams, and then he'll be closer to home. That's where I think he'll go. And then he'll retire in 2 years, and he'll suck there too. But yeah, it's an LOL. He's a complete idiot, and it's pretty pathetic.
Hey, Rick, the only reason I like Brett Favre is let's make sure we have one thing set up straight here, my friend, okay? I just loved his consecutive game streak being an Ironman in that sport.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. And he was a gunslinger, and he took chances. So Brett Favre is my kind of quarterback. Just like I do on these shows, folks. I'm a gunslinger. I'll take a chance on whatever topic it is. Don't matter to me. As long as it's all a healthy intellectual conversation where everybody's got opinions, it's okay. But any player that has a big-time consecutive game streak, to me, will always earn a lot of respect. Because you know what that means? It means being able to go to work every day, which will probably segue into my parting shot, but I don't want to give it away too much, even though 2 or 3 of them probably know what it is anyways. But it's about going to work every day and the consecutive game streak. And that's why I'm a Brett Favre guy. He threw for a lot of yards, threw for a lot of interceptions. With that said, I'll segue over to Candy Ebling, who probably had Brett Favre or so on a fantasy football team. Or tell me what that was like. And then, Candy, give me this LOL thing.
So, yes, did I have Brett Favre in fantasy football back in the day when I played? Yet, you bet I did. And the problem with that is he was a gunslinger, so he threw interceptions as well. But is this an LOL type thing? Only because we're all making it one. To be honest with you, I mean, we're not talking about anybody else. There are other players out there that have the decisions to be made. What question was he asked to warrant him telling us he was going to go in this 4-8 darkness in a house? It's not in a wilderness. It's in someone's house. They're going to deliver food to him. But who asked the question?
Some survival.
It's not a survival thing. It's him. I don't even know what it is. I mean, have we all thought he's been a little Miss Diva from the beginning? We don't know the background story. He doesn't talk with his parents. He doesn't talk with his brother. He doesn't get along with this. He doesn't get along with that. There's players coming out that say he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. Is he a diva? You bet. Is he a very smart person? Well, look where he went to college. Yes, he's smart. He's business smart. Does he own? He owns 1% of the Milwaukee Bucks as we speak. He bought it back in 2018. So will he go into the NBA? I mean, will he buy ownership into the NBA?
He won't have to. Know. He's dating the woman. He won't have to.
Right. But he doesn't need, it's not like he needs the money. I could see him at some point maybe buying into the NFL, a team.
Never know.
You never know.
Hey, there's not enough white owners. I mean, they have to bring that up, you know.
Well,
we talked about that last night.
I was waiting for Jacob to throw that. I know Jacob so well. I waited for that one. Thank you very much, Jacob, for allowing me to figure out my colleague real well when to throw that fastball right down the middle. That was good.
What, 70% of the players are black in the NFL, 25% of the quarterbacks are black, and 95.3% of the owners are white.
And 98.2% of the coaches are white.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I got some crack status session on this crew. Good stuff. All right. But that said, the show's moving around really, really well. So we're going to give everybody a chance to get their parting shots out right away. But that said, Jacob, lead off.
I was the anti-TikTok for the longest time. Everybody heard my jokes. Everybody heard all that. Guess what? I am now a TikTok guy. I am Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok. Anybody wants to find me. I've just started it, but the biggest thing that says to me, though, is a reminder what my, even having an older dad like I did, it's the reminder that you always have to, you can't just give up on things. Because he was older, but he always was studying. You always have to study. You always have to give it a possible idea, everything a chance. what's going to be, because otherwise if you don't adapt, you die. And the biggest thing, I think the greatest thing, and thinking my dad's birthday will be on the 24th of February. He'd be 95 this year. He was an older dad. And the thing I can think from him, besides that one, was, you don't adapt, you die. It's another thing. The pundit's pundit is partially him, because when I would watch a ball game, whether win or lose, whether it was a big game or a horrible game, whether it was any of that stuff. Okay, go mow. Okay, go rake your leaves. Okay, go shovel snow. It didn't matter. It's like you have to go think about something else. You have to go think of this. You don't scream and holler at the players, because those players have a job to do themselves. That's the lesson I got from that. So a part of the thing of getting to TikTok is remembering him. As mind you, he wouldn't have been doing TikTok, but he did always adapt, even at his age, even being a 60-year-old racing teenager. He even adapted to life. He even had all the newer things. And it's a reminder to me, I had to adapt in this life. So that's part of the reason why I did it.
That's really good stuff. I hope that you build that account. I still like to joke around with you in the chat as your new toy, however you.
Yeah.
This is for Jacob for joining Short Attention Span Theater.
Yeah.
I won't watch it. I will not watch it. I promise you.
And I don't want to see.
Well, we know it's a little toy
movie shots
anyways.
or
They
butt
don't talk
shots,
about it.
please.
Hey, listen.
I will not watch it. I will not watch those videos, but I will make stuff.
Well, you know what? I believe that you will have a great account with TikTok. I just don't have the patience. I'm too old for too much social media. I struggle with what I already have. All right. But
Well, Scott, real quickly, the thing about it is when my dad was 60, I was 10. But so it's like I was 10. So the biggest thing that like I said, that's the biggest thing. It was even then he'd have the newest stuff everywhere. He'd have the newer truck. He'd have the newer everything. He was always reading up on what's newer. He actually tried to get wind turbines on his property years ago, tried to get solar on his property years ago before it was big. He always read up on things. And it's like, you can't just stick to the same things over and over, because we wouldn't have internet if we did that, and we wouldn't have met.
Well, all I can tell you is I hope you get a lot of followers. And when and if I ever get back on that, you'll just send me a text with it. I'll be one of them. And everybody else on this panel probably will. But I wouldn't hold your breath of me going on there right away, because I haven't been on there about 2 or 3 months anyways. And I've actually moved.
They only have 3 up to 3 minutes, man. You might go over that.
Well, I know I would go over that. No, in fact, I hate to say this for all you TikTok users out there. I had to move it to a different screen so I wouldn't see it all the time and have to go back there and go back to it. So I put it on one of my 4th or 5th, 6th screens on my phone. And let me tell you, my screens are pretty well full. So, all right. Well, anyway, go ahead and text me. I'll follow you. And I hope everybody follows you on TikTok, whatever I have to call it.
Yeah. TikTok.
So, yeah. I don't know. Whatever. All
Tacky
right,
tick. Ricky Ticky Tacky. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that comes from a time.
My parting shot.
Jason Hansen. That comes from a time you had Jason Hansen on your team.
I'll say it again. Kudos to LeBron for his individual achievement. Until he starts getting more team achievements, he will not be a GOAT. That being said, let's have a great time this Sunday watching Super Bowl, which Americans consume over 394 gallons of beer during the Super Bowl,
and I won't
nationwide, and spent over $500 million on it.
I won't be drinking.
And that's not at the game. I'm talking about the people at home buying it at stores spend that much money.
And 50% is you.
No. I'm not a beer drinker. Sorry.
He's lost as much weight as he can. More power to him. Keep up the good work, Jeremy. You'll need it when you go to the NFL draft wearing some nice clothes. Okay, don't worry about it. All right, but anyway, Rick Curdy, give us your parting shot.
Oh, we got to hear the saga of Kyrie. He's going to another team. How many teams has he poisoned already? Cavaliers. 2. The Celtics ran him out. And of course, it's all the owner's fault of the Nets. The Nets owner's an idiot. Even though Kyrie wanted in his contract, he didn't want to play back-to-back games, but he wanted all his guaranteed money. That's why he's gone, because he's an idiot. He needs to go. And the Mavericks, Mark Cuban's a smart guy, but why would you want this idiot when you know he's probably going to go to the Lakers next season? He'll be a free agent. Makes absolutely no sense. And you're going to hook him up with Luka. I mean, my goodness, that's like dynamite in a match. It's awful. It's not going to work out. It's dumb. He'll be toxic over there like he is everywhere else. And I hope he does go to the Lakers. so he can join his buddy LeBron, who's another idiot diva, and both of them can ruin the Lakers franchise. I just can tell you this: if Jerry Buss was still alive, God rest his soul, LeBron would have been gone. And Jenny Buss needs to be an owner and stop letting LeBron ruin the Laker franchise because they are a complete joke. But Kyrie needs to go, and man, I wish David Stern was still around.
Very good, Rick. Candy?
My parting shot, near and dear to my heart, my dad. Dad, I love you and I'll miss you. You taught me so many things. You taught so many people things as he was a high school math teacher. He was an usher at Milwaukee Brewer County Stadium, or Miller Park as they changed to. You taught me about faith, love, but most importantly, you taught me about my love of sports, and you taught me to say thank you. So thank you, Dad, for everything you did for me and for all of the family. Remember, everybody, you don't know when the last time you're going to see somebody. So say thank you, tell them you love them, don't live with any regret.
Well, Rick Curdy, either you were looking at my notes here through that computer, or maybe you were reading my mind after a few years together. But nevertheless, my parting shot is about Kyrie Irving too. So that means both of us can have one, okay? And I'll tell you what, I'll give everybody an opportunity, except Rick, to respond to Kyrie, since I deliberately put this at the end of the show so we can move it along faster with the other topics, because we're going to get to it anyways. Okay, well, here's what we got. Good riddance, Kyrie. Not respected. Okay, too much drama with the Nets. Guess what? You earned it. You didn't go to work every day. All the games and all the drama that you provided for that franchise, they had high expectations that that franchise could win a title between you, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. And what do you have? A failed tenure there. Now, let's talk about the logistics of the trade, okay? And here is what on ESPN, the NBA on ESPN rates it. The Nets got a B+ for this deal because they acquired Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-rounders. And the Dallas Mavericks, what do they get? A D, Irving and Markieff Morris. So you know what? Here's the deal, okay, Kyrie. We know that you're nothing more than just a mere rental, okay? And I'll double back on what Rick said, okay, Jerry Buss would never put up with you at all, and he wouldn't even put up with LeBron James. So you know what, Kyrie Irving? I used to think that Deion Sanders was the one athlete I hated more than anybody, and I never liked his cockiness or his nonsense about the Lions couldn't afford him when Barry Sanders was 10 times better than he was. But you know what? Here's the deal, Kyrie. I've always hated Deion Sanders, never cared for Dan Marino much. But Kyrie Irving, I hate you more than any of them, because to me, coming from a blue-collar area where work matters, right, Jeremy? Okay? Apparently it doesn't matter to you, Kyrie. It's how much money can you steal from the NBA and how much you can disrespect the tape delay and all the drama that you have put this league through. Because in the end, what's going to end up happening, no David Stern or not, the NBA is going to get locked out, as Stephen A. Smith has said many times, because of jokers like you. You know what, Stephen A. Smith, to me, may be a little loud at times, but the man does his research, but he knows the NBA awfully well, and the NBA is headed for a lockout, and David Stern would have probably locked him out anyway. So good riddance, Kyrie. I hope you don't win a championship in Dallas. And go ahead, Jacob.
Let me say this, though. They're not going to win it in Dallas, but here's the thing about it. Mark Cuban knows he's this close to losing. He's this close to losing Luka. He's this close. And the biggest thing about this is it's the fact that he did this as a business decision so they can get past the first round, so they have a chance to be able to keep Luka. If this doesn't work out, they're going to eventually lose Luka if he's going to keep it in the first round because he's going to want a winning team. So this is a business decision. He's not expecting to keep Kyrie. This is a business decision to try to get somebody that can distribute the ball for him and then be able to get past the first round and see what happens from there. Everything else is a bonus. He knows he's not keeping him, so it's a business decision.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. Hey, listen, you know what? You can't blame an owner who wants to win now, and you'll go out there and tolerate the drama that goes with it. The reality of the situation is...
Well, yeah. The thing is, here's the thing. If it doesn't work out, he's losing both. This is the truth. It's a risk. But right. if it does, But if it does work out and you lose Kyrie, you know what you're getting. When you get to the second round or even the Eastern or Western Conference Finals, you know what you're going to get from that. You're going to get a bigger player with Luka, and then you'll be able to sign him. You'll get a bigger player, and then they'll have a better team. See, remember, Mark Cuban's been a risk guy all his life.
Right.
He had the sales, the everything. He's a risk guy. He could easily lose both, but nothing gained. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no. Hey Jacob, everything you say is fine. I'm just glad that Kyrie, to me, is the one guy I hate more than any athlete on the planet because of everything he's done. What with all the drama. I mean, whatever happens in Dallas happens in Dallas, So I'm not questioning the fact that Mark Cuban is one of those type of risk it the biscuit kind of deal. Yeah. We know that. I'm with you all the way, Jacob. I'm not even refuting that at all. I'm just saying that Kyrie Irving has worn out his welcome with every stop. And you know what? Whether he lands at the Lakers or not, it's not. Time will tell. But he's the reason that the NBA is going to get locked out, or players like him, with all the drama. Because when all of a sudden, we start talking about lowering the season 72 games, which will never happen anyways, and you see all the things that are about to take place in the league, people are going to, right now, the owners are taking notes about everything that's going wrong and everything they won't tolerate with the next collective bargaining agreement. And don't think they don't like the drama, the load management, and everything that we've talked about in the last several shows. But this guy here is a major reason that the NBA will get locked out and players like him. That's all I'm saying. I'm not in any way, shape, or form, Jacob, at all debating what you're saying. In fact, what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense. Mm-hmm. It's a win-win, what it is, to try to keep the player there. How many times did the Cleveland Cavaliers try to make those moves to keep LeBron there before he ultimately went to Miami, right? Yeah. It's the same kind of idea. So with that said, you know what, Candy, anybody else want to add to this real quickly?
It's desperation, and he's going to lose Luka anyway. If I was him and Luka was not going to sign, I would just trade Luka and get a boatload back instead of getting this headache, this idiot, imbecile, lazy human being. And I hate him too. He's what's wrong with our society. And there's people that look up to him and they're like, hey, he doesn't have to work. So why should, well, because he's making millions of dollars and you're not. He's just poison and toxic and an idiot.
Candy, anything you want to add?
Nope.
Oh, well, I like your parting shot because the best one of the group. Talk about your dad and I, father-in-law. Fred Ebling, I love you very much and rest in peace. And, you raised a sports girl, and I have to say that I should be nailed for grand larceny, stealing this sports girl and putting her on with so many people and covering so many events. I committed grand larceny by finding the best woman on the planet. Candy, just so you know. With that said, Candy, take us home the rest of the way.
So if you're enjoying this show, please like, subscribe, share all of our broadcasts. Go to, if you like to listen to podcasts, we're on iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. You want to be our 1,000 subscriber, you want to hit that button, hit that subscribe button. Go to listen, watch more of our broadcasts. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Catch Scott on Twitter at Tribune South. If you want to sponsor or have your own show, contact Scott either at our email, or at southfloridatribune@gmail.com, or give him a call, 954-304-4941. Rick, how can they get a hold of you?
You can find me on my website, www.charlottebats.com. Please go on there, sign the petition. We want to bring Major League Baseball to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm on Facebook at Charlotte MLB, Charlotte Bats Baseball. I'm on Twitter, Charlotte Bats Baseball, Instagram, Charlotte Bats, and I'm on LinkedIn under Rick Curdy. And no, I'm not going to get a TikTok.
All right.
Yeah, at least you're not going to steal my thunder.
All right, TikTok, go ahead and let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
TikTok, Jake the Pundit 1, Jake the Pundit on Twitter. Sunday nights, I am on Basket Bros with Scott, and then everybody else with that. Monday nights, Pundit Views, and I'm going to work. I got the chance I'm going to ask him this week, so we're going to have a possibility on that. Tuesday nights, Confidential coming up this week. Wednesday nights, doubleheader with Scott. I do Pundit's Pundit, and then this show here is the Sports Exchange. Thursday nights away from away from sideline sports. I do yin and yang with TJ Sanson. We talk film and theater. We talk philosophy, politics. We talk all kinds of different things. Anything away from sports and stuff. So it's a little bit of a change of pace. And then when they need me on Fridays, every few weeks, the Gauntlet. So I'm on basically that's the whole world.
In other words, he gets around.
Yeah. It's like you should see the girls with it. No.
Well, hey, you know what? It is what it is, Jacob.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, Smoking Jeremy, I know where you've been all week, and you've done an outstanding job with the extra stuff we've asked of you. So I'm really proud of you, Jeremy. You've come a long way since you joined us. Go ahead.
Well, you can find me, of course, on the South Florida Tribune channel on any show that Scout produces, because he might just say, hey, I need you, so I got a chameleon in, and I do well. But anyways, according to him, anyways. You can also find me at Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. Occasionally, I might be popping in as a guest on Sideline Sports, seeing how my show is eventually going to be presented by Sideline Sports.
Right.
And I can find me on Sundays during the football season doing the Sunday Morning Drive, which is a pick'em show for the NFL. And I have also started a Saturday show. I'm thinking about only doing it once a month, covering college football until the draft.
Trying to stay as busy as I am.
And then I work 6 days a week, and my only day off is Sunday, and I still do work.
Are you trying to tell me right now, buddy, you need oxygen?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured that.
Oxygen, sleep, caffeine, more sleep, more caffeine.
Well, okay, sleep is a luxury.
Well, you're healthy.
Yeah, sleep is a luxury for me nowadays, Jeremy, especially since I have a fractured tailbone. I shouldn't have said that, but I do have it.
It's awesome
right,
having you,
man.
Jeremy. It's awesome having you. Well, I'll have you on sometime, my son.
I got news for you, Jeremy. You've been an unbelievable addition with everything you've contributed on, and I enjoy having you on here immensely. You're a great part of our network, and we're so thrilled to have you, Jeremy.
And I forgot to mention, I am also one of the writers for the South Florida Tribune. You can find me under the Motor City Tribune heading, where I'm under the list of authors.
So am I. So I forgot that.
Yeah, actually, Jacob's been writing for us too, so good stuff.
And Rick did way back when. In the
I
day.
might write again. I'll come out of retirement.
No,
Maybe I'll
Rick,
be like Tom Brady and come out of retirement.
yeah, no,
He'll
Rick,
be telling
you know
us how
what?
much everything
You just want to see a
sucks.
picture of me in my underwear.
Well,
That's all.
well, you know what, Rick? I think we found you a niche, which is no pressure, so don't worry. It's okay.
And no picture of me in my underwear. So
Well,
I
that's
don't want to
what
see
you-
that.
I will say one thing about Rick Curdy before we close it out. Does an excellent job helping us promote all the content, social media. So keep up the good work, Rick. You know, I need to make a photocopy of every one of you four, because I tell
Just
you
not
what.
in our underwear.
Well, whatever.
No
TV.
underwear.
I'm not going to go the TMI route. I don't want to get people upset. So, but if I haven't already, well, so be it. But anyways, this completes this edition of the Sports Exchange. On behalf of Candy Ebling, Rick Curdy, Jacob Christner, and Smoking Jeremy B, okay, or A, or whatever or Jacob decides to call him. My name is Scott Morgan, Roth of Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange, and we will catch you the next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Spade and neuter your pets.
Good night.
Spade and neuter.